So now ramping up to the declaration of Chernihill Constitution next week, we would like to have, where's Mr. Tim? Tim, there you are. World Mission Head Department, please come on down and give some reports about the international situation. Let's give it at one time for Tim Elder.
Good morning, everyone. Things are really moving forward around the world. In Japan, Mrs. Erikawa's complaint is that she doesn't have time to contact the people she wants to contact because she keeps getting invitations from other people. She flew to Hokkaido to give a blessing there. She went to Kyushu and Osaka, and the various anointed groups in Japan had a joint service today in Tokyo. People are just popping up all over the place saying, please come here, Mrs. Erikawa, give us the blessing, give us the blessing. In Korea, in a city called Chinju, that's along the south coast of the Korean Peninsula, there's the Family Federation, the Heretic Church, has a church there that's about, they have 60 or 70 people coming to the Sunday services. Well, 16 people from 11 families sent in their resignations from the Family Federation to the headquarters and declared that they want to affiliate themselves with the Sanctuary Church. And in Europe, our continental director is on a tour now. He's been to Austria, he's going to Italy, and he's meeting our Sanctuary Church members in those countries to establish leaders for those countries. In Africa, we anointed a leader for DR Congo, and he's here today. And we may be close now to being able to anoint a continental director for Africa. And also more and more people in Oceania and in Southeast Asia are coming to the Sanctuary Church. You know, and so the Family Federation now is taking action in all over the place. In Japan, they've held a series of meetings basically saying, please, 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 please don't go to Mrs. Erikawa. They have these big meetings. They cost a lot of money, I'm sure. They usually have one in Tokyo and then one in Osaka the next day, and that's basically the message there. And they will gather the blessed couples and the national messiahs and leaders and all sorts of things. And it doesn't work one time, and so they do it again, and then they do it again. But now there's a rumor that they may be downsizing some of their staff. Well, we'll see what happens there. And also in Korea as well, the Family Federation there is trying very hard to keep people tied down. You know, and they may be wondering, hey, what's going on here? We have all the money. Sanctuary Church doesn't have any money. They have very few people. Why is it that we're not able to stand up to them? Well, it's because Father's behind all of this. You know. They're in a wrestling match with True Father. Who's going to win that one? Who's going to win that one? You know? I remember Father, when he was about 90 years old, saying, I can beat all you guys. He wasn't kidding. He was not kidding. And now, you know, he doesn't even have those physical limitations. Even with those physical limitations, he was still pretty strong. But it's very important for us to understand exactly what is going on in the world right now. Clark, could you cue the video now, please? I have to change something. I don't know how to do that. Okay, you'll have to come back up when I'm finished to put it back. Okay, let's play the video. Just turn up the sound, please.
지게식에 있어서의 참부모님의 축복을 전수하나이다.
아주.
아주.
It's just 22 seconds. But these 22 seconds are what marked the beginning of a new era. What Father says, and I want to go through this in detail in English. This was, first of all, was an event that was held 3 times. First on January 15th, 2009 in Chongpyeong. And then again, January 31st, 2009, also in Chongpyeong. And then Father made use of the time difference, the 14-hour time difference during the winter between Korea and the United States. And right after the event in Chongpyeong, everybody got on a plane and came to New York, and then where it was still January 31st, and held the same event again at the Manhattan Center. That must be something pretty important, don't you think? It was the same ceremony 3 times. On 2 continents, 2 hemispheres. And this is not the inauguration of the world chairman, by the way. Some people get that confused. That happened in April 2008. And this is not that. This is January of 2009. And here he says, first he begins by naming the event where he's at, and he says, at the coronation for the settlement of the parents of heaven, earth, and humanity in the realm of settlement, I transmit the blessing of true parents. The verb in Korean that he uses is chonsu, chonsu. Chonsu means to transmit. It can also be translated to deposit or to bestow. It means that someone who has some knowledge or some technique or something like that transmits it to someone else. They can if it's a blessing, they can deposit it or bestow it on someone else. And then he uses the verb ending hanaida, chonsu hanaida. You know, and I looked up that word, verb ending hanaida, and I asked several Koreans about this, and I Googled it. And there's only one instance, one type of instance where that verb ending is used, and that is in a prayer to God. The only time that I could find on the Korean Google or any place else where people use this verb ending was when they were addressing God. So here Father is telling God that I, at this event, bestow the blessing of true parents. And he's bestowing it on the 2 people who are standing in front of him, that is, Hyungjinim and Yonanim. That's a pretty momentous occasion. And then in 2010, he signed a document that we've seen many times where he says that anyone else is a heretic and a destroyer. That it is only Moon Hyung-jin who is the representative body and the inheritor. So from that point, we have to say that we have the physical manifestation of true parents on earth in Hyungjinim and Yonanim. And there is this unbreakable connection between true father and Hyungjinim now. And that is why the Family Federation doesn't stand a chance. And no matter how much they struggle, they cannot defeat the Sanctuary Church. They can send some guy around the country lecturing about True Mother. That's not going to do it. We'll watch, see. It's not going to do it. He can have all the PhDs and THDs and DDDDs after his name. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Because that man is trying to defeat something that Father has instituted. Now some people say that, well, Hyungjinim had his portion of responsibility. Yes, he did. He had a choice. He didn't have to accept that blessing. You know, he could have said, you know what, I'm going to go back to Harvard, get my PhD, and I'm going to go teach comparative religion in some place and raise my children in some college town someplace. He could have done that. And Kuk Jinim could have said, I'm just going to focus on my businesses and become rich and just enjoy my life, and we'll just forget about the church. Forget about Father's teachings and his legacy. That was a choice. It was a real choice. They could have done that. But accepting the blessing was the portion of responsibility, and fortunately for us and for all humanity, that's what they did. I am so grateful that that's what they did. All of humanity owes them a huge debt of gratitude for making that choice to accept the blessing and to run with it and to develop it so that Father's legacy, so that Father's work on this earth could continue. Is Hyung Jinim not following true parents? He is following true parents because he is following that blessing, and of course, he is following his conscience, and he is the physical manifestation of true parents. He is true parents. He is true parents on this earth. And we need to understand that here in Sanctuary Church, and I hope everyone watching this video will also understand that Hyung Jinim and Yonanim now today are the true parents. Next week, he'll be announcing the Constitution. And in December 6th, he will be liberating the ancestors, 210 generations, for anyone who requests it. 210 because that's the level that Father instructed. And he has that authority because he has inherited the entire authority of true parents. It's also true that he was liberating people in the spirit world while Father was on the earth. Father had him going around liberating the spirits of people who died in the Korean War. And he went to several, I'm not sure the exact number, but several military installations, both Korean military and the U.S. forces, and held ceremonies and established monuments to memorialize and to liberate and bless the people, soldiers and others who died in the Korean War. And so he has inherited the entire authority of true parents. His words are the words of true parents. Let's be very clear about that. His words are the words of true parents. Those who follow his words are following true parents. Those who follow the Han Mother are not following true parents. She is not the true mother. She is not the true mother. Well, that's pretty heavy. But we need to be very clear about this, and I wanted to make it clear today. I guess we thank God for what he is teaching us and telling us. The early Christians, it took them some time to really figure out what God's word was, what Jesus was all about, and what his mission was, and so forth. And for us too, we are growing. We are growing in our understanding and in our faith. And let's thank God that he is continuing to nourish us and to lead us into a deeper understanding of his will. Thank you very much.